Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be before you today. Before I get started, I want to certainly thank Gene for that introduction and all of your philanthropy. We talk that there's always a handful of leaders who are leading the philanthropic effort here in Tampa Bay, and the McNichols are always one of those families that we talk about. So thank you for that. Thank you to the Lantern Award winners, Martha and the Hall family, and Melissa and Bridget. We're certainly appreciative of what you do. And thank you to Congresswoman Castor. I want you to know that you are not only a great representative, but a real role model for so many in the community, including my friend Macy McClintock at Robinson High, who led a Break the Silence event about domestic violence at Robinson last year. So I'm here before you today because Mindy made me come up here. I want to apologize to Mindy's parents who are sitting at the table there. You may have noticed I did not applaud for Mindy when she was introduced. But no, I'm here because, Mindy, I'm inspired by your leadership. But in all honesty, today I'm not here to deliver a speech I want to give. I'm here to deliver a speech I have to give. I am accustomed to talking about my passion for journalism, my love of sports, my fondness for barbecue ribs. But today, I want to talk about domestic violence, and I'm a little nervous, I'll admit that. And I was kind of struggling to sleep last night thinking about today. And so I was up late watching SportsCenter, and if I had any doubt that I was supposed to be here today, SportsCenter eliminated that doubt. On SportsCenter, they're showing highlights from the NBA, and the best player for the Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell, dedicated his performance last night to the memory of Lauren McCluskey, a University of Utah student who was killed by an intimate partner, and that partner went on to commit suicide. But I don't want you to call it a murder-suicide, because when we call it a murder-suicide, we leave out the term domestic violence. Let's call it a domestic violence tragedy. Let's call it what it is. So this was yet another domestic violence tragedy that inspired Mitchell, not because he knew Lauren McCluskey, not because he knows other domestic violence victims, but as he said, because as a society, as men, we need to do better. Mitchell said, it's tough for that to happen and for a mother to lose her child, her daughter, especially in that way. Women nowadays have it so tough. A lot of times, men are the aggressor and women are defenseless, and it's so sad to see things like that happening. I think we need to offer more help in those types of situations. For women to be scared to say something is not something we should be promoting in this country or in this world. Now, I tell you, if I can't sleep at 2 a.m. and this is what I end up hearing, wasn't I supposed to be here today? So Donovan Mitchell set the tone for men last night. My question to all the men in the room today is, what are you going to do to set the tone today and tomorrow? In preparing my remarks, I asked myself one simple question. What have I done as a man to curb the plague of domestic violence and abuse in our society? And I answered with 2 simple words: not enough. I can stand here before you and say I have never hit my wife, but that's not enough. You don't get credit for what you're supposed to do. The mantra, a man should never hit a woman, should be part of a baseline existence for every man in America, for every man in the world. I can tell you that I've written columns about domestic violence over the years, including sharing the courageous stories of survivors who have come before you at this luncheon. But that's not enough. Doing enough starts with asking, how many times have I, as a man, shared those stories among my circle of male friends? How many times have I said, hey, fellas, before we talk about last night's game and how much we love Black Panther and how every new song we enjoy sounds like every old song we love, can we talk about domestic violence? A pall might come over the conversation. A groan may emanate in the room. So what? Men, and I want to talk to men. Men, we must tell each other that we can't be participants in acts of violence, of power, of control against spouses and girlfriends and partners. We can't commit them, and we can't condone them. Men, we must deliver that message to each other and to the next generation of young men, some of whom have already made teen dating violence a horrible offshoot of domestic violence. We must make ourselves vulnerable to our sons and to other young men. We must tell them that we have gone through heartache and survived it, and it's okay when a relationship comes to an end. Yes, I got my heart broken at the University of Florida. Yes, I walked through the rain wishing I could catch pneumonia. Yes, I went home and listened to 4 hours of Teddy Pendergrass singing Love TKO. And then I moved on. With the help of my male friends, I moved on and I realized that women are not conquests, they are companions. Women are not there for us to win over, they are there for us to have a relationship with. Too often we tell boys to play around and women to play safe. That's the wrong message. We need to tell the men, instead of telling them boys will be boys, we need to tell them boys need to be brothers and look out for women. Too often we talk about, hey, if you're at a party, cover your drink. Instead of telling men, don't put a drug rape. Don't put a rape drug in that drink. Men, in the workplace, we can't ignore the signs of abuse. We can't dismiss them as a private matter between a husband and wife. We can't see a DV incident as a mere stumbling block for our favorite college football team bidding on a national championship. Men, we can't fall silent because we mistakenly believe speaking up represents betrayal or weakness or political correctness run amok. Domestic violence is not just a marital issue, it's a crime. It's a cause for alarm. It's a life and death situation. Since 2010, intimate partner violence has been the leading cause of murder for women in America. And men, these women can't just walk out all the time, any more than you or I can just quit a high-paying job and step into an uncertain future. If I've learned anything from attending this lunch over the years, it's don't ignore the economic, emotional, and psychological dynamics of domestic violence. They can be as debilitating and paralyzing as any jail cell. Men, if an employee or colleague was robbing banks or embezzling money, you undoubtedly would speak up. But when someone engages in a crime that can lead to a woman being set on fire, a child being stabbed, or a family member being shot, we men too often look the other way. Too often we stay silent. Too often we cheer or shrug when a coach, an unrepentant enabler, receives a 3-game suspension instead of losing his job. I say these things and I write these things, but it's not enough. I'm sick of domestic violence, and I'm sick of me. I'm sick of my moral outrage because too often it remains confined in my private thoughts. Men, we don't need my lip service. We don't need your lip service. We need to be of service. Faith without works is dead. We need to be rallying behind the spring. And we must take this message, this absolute and unwavering intolerance for domestic violence, to the schools, to the boardrooms, to the country clubs, to the Bible studies, to the fraternities, to the civic organizations. Next time a Rotary Club asks me to come to their meeting and address them, I'm not going to stand there and tell them stories about writing columns and covering Super Bowls and analyzing elections. I'm taking Mindy and I'm talking about domestic violence. And I won't have all the right answers, and I won't say all the right things, and I won't convince everyone in the room that these women desperately need our help, and some of our fellow men need to be checked. But in the end, more men will think about it. More men will know. And still, it won't be enough. So when will it be enough? It'll be enough when misogynistic no longer describes the music on the radio. It'll be enough when men routinely hold each other accountable and their discussions about domestic violence aren't uncomfortable or uncommon. It'll be enough when our society rejects the portrayal of violence against women in video games and television shows. It'll be enough when children no longer run from their homes, frantically calling 911 and telling a dispatcher, "Oh my God, my stepdad just shot my mom in the head." It'll be enough when media and law enforcement begins to call these incidents domestic violence tragedies, not murder-suicides. It'll be enough when we not only hear the cries of victims, but actually do something about it. It'll be enough when we lend greater support to the Spring in helping them create safe havens. It'll be enough when we turn our whole society into a safer haven. I'm Ernest Hooper, and I didn't want to talk about domestic violence today, but I had to. Thank you very much.